Hello and welcome to PauseCast, episode 20. It is Friday, November 18th, 2016. I am Jessica Alouette and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Mark Hanna, I use he, him. Welcome.
Hey Mark, you know what I wish I had?
A helicopter.
Nah, I can't fly one of those. Try again.
The ability to fly a helicopter.
I mean, that'd be useful in the event of scenario one, but I'm not rich.
You could sell your helicopter and become rich.
That's true. I mean, the thing I want is ridiculously impractical. You remember that? Okay, so you know Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4,
Yes.
right? Okay. So do you remember that repair tool?
Yes. Yes.
It was a
magic
blowtorch
thing.
and it was a magic fix-it thing.
Yeah.
I want one of those right now. I could really use it for my bike.
I think in real life they just burn stuff and melt it.
Yeah, probably.
Unfortunately, magic repair tools are nice and all, but we're not living that far in the future yet.
Mark, are you telling me that real life isn't like video games?
Sometimes it is, but normally not in the good ways.
This is true. Hi, this is a show that we do. It's about video games.
We try to depress you, if you can't tell already. Sorry, I just
No,
struck
we
me that
definitely
the
don't.
comment I just made is really pessimistic. No, we don't.
It's incredibly pessimistic, and it is not what we want to do here. We want to talk about video games, and we want to talk about what makes them awesome, and cool, and good, and also be critical of them. So occasionally we talk about things that are they're kind of bad sometimes. So, judging from my thing about Far Cry just there, I've been playing a Far Cry game this week. I've been playing Far Cry 4. And I've been going through it in some pretty interesting ways. And this week I've also been playing some Skyrim again, which has been a lot of fun. Mark, how about you? What have you been playing this week?
So I expected to play more of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, which I got a couple of weeks ago. But I actually haven't. A couple of nights I was thinking on my way home, I'm going to play it tonight. I ended up falling asleep on the couch as soon as I got home. I've been exhausted this week. But I have played a couple of sessions of Skyrim now that the special edition's out. That's the only thing I've played since the last episode, though. I think I've only played a couple of nights since then, which is less than usual. But it's been kind of nice to return to. But I'm also remembering now why I stopped playing it a little bit.
What else have you been playing? You've been
That's
playing some
literally it.
Skyrim too, right?
Yeah, Skyrim. That's literally it. That's
Okay.
literally the only thing I've been playing is Skyrim. But I probably spent about a third of the time I've been playing it finding mods again, since I don't have all the ones I had originally. So it's which ones have been resaved in the new, slightly different format for special edition?
Yeah. Have you mucking around with mods or anything? Or?
Yeah, I've got a few. So I'm the two that make the biggest difference for me that I've got at the moment, and I've got maybe a dozen or two. One is the alternate start one, just because I like not being the magical center of everything. So I don't bother with the main quest, and that lets me avoid it completely. And the other one is the camping mod. So I think alternate start, I believe, is by Arthmore, and the camping mod is by Chesco. Let me just check that Arthmore one. I'm pretty sure that he did that one. But yeah, so when I play Skyrim, it is Fantasy Camping Simulator 2011. That's what I use it for.
Excellent.
So, and the camping mod I think it's fantastic. It's a really polished piece of work. So I'm really impressed by it. And I'd played with it before. Last time I'd played with the added hypothermia stuff that he's done as well, but I found that too harsh for me, so I just stopped with that, and I've only got the camping stuff now, but it's great as well. Oh yeah, that is Arthmore, I was right. Yeah, so that's been cool. I've been trying to look for all the improvements, and really I find it hard to spot anything. The volumetric lighting is obvious, to be fair, but and if I were playing them side by side, I'd probably notice like texture improvements and stuff, I'm sure. But without that, I'm really just not. It just feels like playing Skyrim again with a little bit of extra lighting. And I mentioned an episode or two ago, I was really looking forward to seeing the water now flow around obstacles and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience so far, it usually just doesn't. I've found one case where it does, except in that case, when I first saw the water from a distance, it was flowing quickly in the opposite direction. So,
Mm.
it's still, that's not great. So I've been enjoying camping, but it's got a lot of dents in it, I feel. I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
What's your impression been of the special edition?
My impression's been kind of the opposite. Like, I've noticed that, all the water is working properly for me. I've definitely noticed some, like, a lot of visual improvements with the lighting and with kind of the amount of grass and trees that are there by default.
So that's another thing I can't play without is a mod that darkens things up because everything's so bright. Like you're in this dark cave or it's the middle of the night and the moon's aren't up or something, and it's just like, oh, this is daylight. This is like broad daylight. I can see everything. I don't need a torch. So I've also got stuff that like darkens the ambient light.
Video games are done like that for a reason, though, and that reason is it starts with an A. I'm going to give you that hint. You figure it out?
No.
Accessibility. It's
Okay.
accessibility.
Yeah. You know there are brightness options in the options, right? For that.
Yeah.
I find it's over the top, too bright
Well,
in places that should be dark.
Even with brightness options, though, like it's not real kind of brightness increasing. It's actually
it's gamma, right?
I say that, yeah. It's like it's kind of fakey fake bullshit ish.
It's over the top of everything. It's not going to change the contrast or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But
which makes it like, to me, in my mind, having done like design work and stuff like that, like it's not great. It's not a good solution to just jack that up because you cause everything to fade out. It looks like garbage.
I think that's more generally for like depending on your screen settings, you might need a different gamma setting or something, right? More than accessibility.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm comparing this to other Bethesda games in terms of brightness, though. I feel like Skyrim's a lot brighter when it should be dark. And I think it's because Skyrim has that like eye adjusting thing where like you look at something bright and you look at something dark and you can see, oh, it's like the game's eyes adjusting. But the net effect of that is most of the time dark things look much brighter than you expect. Like dark areas. Yeah. And I find that to be a bit of a pain because I kind of like dark areas being dark. But I mean, I know you had to suspend a lot of disbelief when this ancient ruin no one has stepped foot in 1,000 years has all its candles lit and stuff like that.
And in a way, it's realistic too. Because your eyes do adjust to these various brightness levels, though not at the speed that we see in video games.
Not to that degree either. Have you ever been in a cave where you can't see the sky? Because it's have been, yeah.
Really dark. I know it's. I know. I'm saying it's an imperfect recreation.
Yeah,
but it needs to be done to accommodate like playing the game and having fun.
I don't know if it necessarily is necessary here because Skyrim has inside it several different ways for dealing with darkness. You've got torches, you've got light spells, and you've got night vision, like the magic effect. It could, if it relied on those more heavily instead of just, there's no real dark areas, I think that would be to its strength. But I mean, one of the great things about mods, though, right, is that you can tailor it to whatever you want. Mods, particularly small ones that are quite focused, don't need to worry as much about accessibility. Larger ones, absolutely yes, but there are some where it's just a tweak, where you either want it or you don't, and it might make the game less accessible. Sure. But if it doesn't matter to a subset of players, then they might really like it. So that's one of the great things about mods, actually, is you can go for something that wouldn't ship normally in a AAA game because a lot of people wouldn't be in for it. I don't know if many of the mods I do that, but I've seen that effect in the past, and it's quite nice.
Actually, I want to talk about Skyrim for a little bit more.
Yep.
First, I want to ask you a question, though, because you just gave me an idea.
What's that?
What do you think about the idea that, like, every AAA game should / does have something for everybody?
Hmm.
I'll weigh in with my thoughts first, so you can gather yours.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's horseshit. I don't think that is like a great way to have to design video games. Like, consider No Man's Sky. A lot of the kind of controversy surrounding that was that it was not something that people wanted. Like, people expected something very radically different and couldn't find kind of something for them, and the game became this really, really negatively kind of reviewed thing because of that. And, several other reasons. People claimed that Sean Murray lied, and it's a whole mess. I don't want to get into that too much. But the main point I'm trying to make here is that, yeah, things for No Man's Sky, like, they weren't for everybody. Things in a lot of games just aren't for everybody. And I think that's fine. I think it should be encouraged, even, because not every game can have something for everyone or accommodate every play style, It's just kind of gotta... Everything's kind of gotta be its own thing. And I think by encouraging this school of design where a game has something for everybody, while it's nice in terms of, broader accessibility, we can give everybody, like a constant flow of games to play that they'll find something in that they enjoy. I think that can lead to a homogenous, watered down, very boring way to approach games. I think that there's kind of some criticism that could be levied towards, say, Ubisoft in this direction, with regards to kind of the homogeneity, however you're going to pronounce that word, how homogenous their, like, kind of open world titles are.
Like Assassin's Creed and stuff?
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and Far Cry and stuff like that.
I forget to do Far Cry, yeah.
And, like, there's an argument that could be made there. I don't agree with it fundamentally, but there's certainly an argument that could be made. And, yeah, like I said, I think that thinking that we can expect every AAA game to have something for everybody can fundamentally weaken game design as an entire school of thought.
Remind me just after this, there's a No Man's Sky thing I want to mention.
Sure.
But
we'll talk about it after Skyrim, if that's okay?
Yeah. I broadly agree with you, basically. I think if you try to have something for everyone in a single game, it's really hard to have a cohesive vision. And you'll probably have a bunch of things that will, quote, ruin, unquote, it for a bunch of people, like it's not what they're looking for. Because something for everyone you can't ignore with stuff you don't like. I think it's fine for individual games to try to focus on, like, things that this type of player will enjoy. However, in the larger scheme of things, and I think you'll agree with this as well, games should have something for everyone. We don't want to see across a broad spectrum that they're missing out on this, that, or the other thing,
Yeah, games as a medium absolutely should have something for everyone. And I think we have reached a point in recent years. We've reached a point where that is more true than ever before, especially with the proliferation of smaller games on Steam and itch.io, all these indie titles. I think there's a lot more of something that can appeal to everyone.
There seems to be a lot more diversity in indie games as well. Maybe it's just something about having a big publisher that it's like you need to appeal to a wider audience. Yeah, play it safe.
There's some arguments to be made for why that is. A lot of it is kind of budget related, because we're looking at AAA games with like hundreds of millions of dollars of budget. Like, their budget's as big as big summer blockbuster movies that we're throwing at them, and have been for years. So there's a lot of pressure on them to sell well and make a lot of money. And to do that in the gaming market that exists right now for AAA games. And I'm not saying this is good. Please don't interpret it like that. Is that you do have to kind of play it safe. I do also want to point out I really appreciate the risk-taking games, and I again I hate that I have to refer to them like this, but risk-taking games that have been AAA releases that have come out this year, like Mafia 3 and Watch Dogs 2, those games have taken a risk by kind of bucking the norm and putting a person of color in the lead, and taking big risks in Mafia 3's case with like discussions on racism, and Watch Dogs 2 does this a little bit too, and there's discussions about gender and sexuality in there. And
heard there's a
these
great
things are
mission about stealing an AI car as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like really fun stuff in Watch Dogs 2 from what I've gathered. I'll probably be picking up at some point, so you'll get to hear me talk about this very enthusiastically. If reports are anything to go on. But these games have kind of taken a risk this year. They've been AAA releases. Even Call of Duty Infinite Warfare has like gone out there and taken some risks and done something different with their game, and they've brought on like huge narrative talent to make the game really work, and brought on just so much talent. And there's been a lot of safe releases. There's been a lot of these kind of risky releases this year, and I think that is fantastic.
I think as well this sort of matter of being able to have specific things that don't appeal to many people. This is where having good modding tools and modding capability for a game can be so great for it. Like Skyrim, which is now actually as of just under a week ago, it's a 5-year-old game. But there's
Happy birthday, Skyrim!
Yeah, but
you're
like
pretty
there's
okay.
still there's still some really great modding content. I think there was there was one just a couple months ago I remember reading about, and I can't remember the name of it now, so I'm kicking myself. Forgotten City or something, that people were raving about. It was a really good narrative content in a mod that had come out for Skyrim. But
Right.
stuff like this camping thing, which now, as I said, has converted it into Fantasy Camping Simulator 2011 for me. Like, that's not what Skyrim was meant to be about, but I'm enjoying that way more than I enjoy the combat in it. It's just sort of like wandering around and making camp. Like, that sounds silly, but that's the kind of player I am a lot of the time. Skyrim,
Right.
I enjoy for just being able to plonk myself down in a fantasy world and muck around a bit without being silly, if that makes sense. Like, I don't jump everywhere. I actually tend to walk around quite a lot. But also, Skyrim, I am not a big fan at all of its combat. I find, at least at the lower levels, which I've never gotten hugely out of, to be fair, it feels a lot like either I kill things in 2 seconds or they kill me in 2 seconds, and there's very little in between. And that's been kind of reinforced by the last few hours of gameplay since the special edition came out. And I don't know, I don't find that hugely enjoyable. It's like, it's still fun, but it's a cool world to wander around and do stuff. That's why I find it fun. That's why the camping stuff in particular works really well for me. And there'll be other players who'll feel better about different sort of additional content. And there's so many mods out there that you can just get it and do it. And it's also actually, that's why it's really cool to see a lot of it coming to consoles as well, right? I know PS3 has that restriction on no original content, but aside from that, there's a lot of additional content now available for console players with it, which is really cool.
Just a quick correction, PS4.
Sorry, you're right. PS4, what am I doing? Yeah, PS4.
Apparently, fucking Skyrim on PS3 is a technical nightmare. I don't know anything about this because I have only played it on PC.
Yeah, same. I don't know anything about that either.
Um,
I found some fun bugs as well while playing. There was one over the weekend where I'm doing the typical like sneak and shoot things with a bow type playthrough, and I was trying to
right,
shoot.
yeah. So like my first Skyrim playthrough.
My 20th Skyrim playthrough as well, and just like all of them. That's what I do. But I was trying to hunt like a snow fox or something. It was just like, sitting there 50 meters away or whatever down a hill. So I crouch, I shoot at it. The game goes into that slow motion camera it does when you kill the last thing you're in combat with. And then it goes immediately out of it, and the arrow just drops in front of me with no momentum. It's like, what? Okay, pick up the arrow, try again. The same thing happens, and it happened like 6 times until finally, like, I managed to get to a position where, okay, the arrow actually shot now, and it didn't go into that slow motion camera, and so I killed it. But it's like, that was kind of weird, kind of funny, but like in an annoying way. I had another which wasn't a bug, but looked hilarious last night, where there's a wolf charging at me, and I shoot an arrow at it, and it goes into the slow motion camera with this like noise of the arrow going, and it flies right over the wolf's head. I'm like, what? I missed, and then its tail flicks up in the running animation and catches the arrow, and it dies. It just looked like the stupidest thing, but gave me a laugh. But another bug that was really annoying I ran into last night. You can find a stray dog, and it starts following you around if you talk to it, and you can tell it to wait here, and then come back and say, follow me, and eventually you can say, oh, go home, and you'll never see it again. And so it was following me around. I'm like, oh, I want to sneak in this dungeon, or tell it to wait here. And then I did that, and nothing happened, except I was still in the dialogue, and none of the controls were responding. I could look around, but like I couldn't leave the dialogue. I couldn't even access the escape menu or Alt F4 or anything. I was trapped trying to talk to this dog who was just lying down, looking away from me, not paying any attention to me. So I'm just imagining my character like yelling behind it, stay here, over and over, while it's doing just that. I had to force quit the game. And I thought, oh, it's just a one-off. Went back in, the exact same thing happened. So I had to tell the dog to go away forever, and I felt sad. Aww. But yeah, there's still a lot of weird bugs in Skyrim.
That sounds about right. I've heard that the QA process for Skyrim was not great. Like just on the special edition. Yeah, I would have to have a look into this. I know Jim Sterling was planning to report on this, but just apparently some QA shit had just gone completely awry.
I'd be a bit surprised if there was much non-graphical stuff that wasn't just a hangover from the original Skyrim, because I'm sure the engine wouldn't have had that many updates. It's not like they pulled in all of Fallout 4 stuff or anything like that. So this dog bug, I'm guessing was probably in the original one, but I don't know that for sure.
I sincerely doubt it.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know one way or the other, but my best guess would be that it's a hangover from the last time.
Yeah, fair enough. I've been playing Skyrim as some catharsis recently, because I've been enjoying treating it as very much a walking simulator with light combat elements. Yeah,
that sounds pretty much like how I play it. Yeah.
Yeah, go for a wander. Not a lot of sneaking on this character that I've built. I'm actually I've got the war axes, and I've got some magic to back me up. So I'm having a good time with this, and I'm having a good time just kind of wandering around in this world. And if you've never played Skyrim's fantasy is kind of traditional and, for lack of a better word, boring. It doesn't really do a lot for the fantasy formula. There's swords and sorcery and dragons, and I guess the dragons coming back from the dead thing's unique.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah, there's dragons coming back from the dead.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
You just spoiled it for me.
I don't
play the main quest, it's fine.
Yeah.
Although I think, and I haven't played it, but I think that the Solstheim DLC, what's it called? Is it called Dragonborn? I think that looks like it's going to be more interesting, partly because it seems to take a bunch of Morrowind-like content, and Morrowind was much more interesting fantasy than Skyrim has been.
See, from what I know, the general consensus is that Skyrim, just the main stuff, is super weak, but that Bethesda typically steps up their shit in the DLC.
Yeah, I
so
I remember that
both Dawnguard and
fantastic.
Dragonborn are supposed to be really, really good.
Cool. Because that's been the
But like,
thing I've been thinking of. Like, I'll try those. My current character is nearly a vampire, uh, so I might get into the Dawnguard content with that. I don't know.
mm, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, back to what I was saying a little
Hmm.
earlier. Skyrim as catharsis in this very plain fantasy. Because it doesn't feel to me like it takes a lot of risks with the fantasy formula. It feels like it feels like a safe space for me to go wander around into. I know what to expect. I know kind of I know what's going on here. There's nothing terribly dramatic going on. It's just been a nice, very chill escape, and I've appreciated that in this past couple of weeks more than kind of ever before.
It's particularly easy to pretend nothing's going on if you don't start the main quest, so there aren't even dragons flying around.
See, I've done that. Like
Yeah.
I like that. I like that aspect of the fantasy. Again,
I I
as
would like the
plain as it
dragons if they didn't
feels.
always melt away into skeletons after you killed them. I wish you could just be like, I'm not the Dragonborn after all. I'm just some random person who camps and kills dragons. I think there was probably an original Skyrim mod to get rid of that, but as far as I can tell, there isn't one for the special edition at the moment.
I wonder if that'll happen.
I mean, as far as I know, all it takes is saving it in a new format. I could presumably download it and resave it and just use it personally for that if I could be bothered putting the effort in.
That's fair.
Depends on what it involves, though, I think. Some stuff like UI stuff, I think, isn't quite so simple to translate. But if it's just like a data file, it's just open it up in the new creation kit and save it, and it should be fine. You might need to like recompile scripts or something if it involves that.
Speaking of Skyrim's UI, I
Oh, I
can't wait
hate
for
the sneak eyes so much.
I can't wait for Skyrim Sky UI to be back. Please,
Well, doesn't that
please.
rely on the script extender? And I think they don't. Well, actually, I haven't looked into this, but I don't think they've got that work going with Special Edition. I don't know.
I don't know if they do have it yet, but I know that Fallout 4 had a script extender, so I don't
Yeah,
imagine Skyrim Special Edition's script extender will be far behind. And I
yeah. I
really hope
haven't.
that Sky UI comes to it.
Hmm. Yeah, I hate how they always have all the map markers on the compass. Luckily, I found something to turn that off quite easily. I think I just might have turned the compass off. I turned the crosshair off, but the sneak eye really bugs me, like a lot. So I ended up turning the whole UI opacity way down because it was the only thing I could find to deal with it. There aren't any mods currently to turn it off. I just
Mm.
find it gets in the way of things, and sometimes I don't need to know if like the bear over there has spotted me when I'm doing something else if it's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
need to. Hey, Skyrim, real quick. I don't need to know that Lydia has like the ability to see me.
yeah,
I
I haven't got
don't.
a follow either.
I don't. Lydia doesn't need to see me.
Actually, I remember
I don't.
in Oblivion, couldn't your horse rat on you to the guards if it saw you stealing something?
What?
I think it might have been able to. Either that, or it might be that I couldn't tell if I was unseen by everyone else if my horse could see me because the game would just tell me that something can see me. So I need to like put my horse somewhere and then go steal it, or like make sure my horse is facing the other way when I steal something so I can know for sure I'm not being spotted.
Hi guys, I'm a talking horse. You see that guy over there? He's definitely stealing from you. Go get him.
Those are your potatoes, can't you tell?
Who ratted me out? Who ratted me out? It wasn't me, dude. I'm not an narc. I promise. I'm not a cop. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
What's
Says
with
the
the police hat
horse.
then? The horse wearing like sunglasses and a police hat with flashing sirens on its saddle.
Oh, how are they powering this? This is Skyrim. How are they powering the flashing lights?
This is Skyrim. It's not hard science fiction. They're magic lights.
It's not science fiction at all.
Exactly. They're just magic.
Why? Okay, let's just.
Why is a horse wearing sunglasses when the eyes are on the sides of its head? Because it looks cool.
They're just blinders.
They're not even
That's
blinders.
it.
They're like just it can't see through the bits on the side. It's just blind. I don't know. Anyway,
Jesus fucking Christ, Mark.
don't
That's
really
all I
think
have
too
to
much
say
about
to you.
this.
I'm trying not to think of too much about it, otherwise my head will fucking explode. Jesus. So I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about Far Cry 4 now.
Actually, before you do that,
Yeah, because you
just
had
quickly,
you had a No Man's Sky thing.
it's
too.
a pretty small thing. You just reminded me when you mentioned it before. I mean, this is a little late to the party, but I'd seen some reporting about outlets making a big deal of supposedly the Advertising Standards Authority is investigating No Man's Sky. And I just want to point out, as someone who has been involved with probably over 100 complaints to New Zealand's Advertising Standards Authority, and I know that they work in pretty much the same way, like they fill the same niche, they have the same sort of neither of them, for example, neither of them are a branch of the government. They're industry self-regulation, and all it takes for something to be, quote, investigated, unquote, is for someone to make a complaint. And then if the ASA reads the complaint and sees, oh, this is relevant to our codes, then they'll start investigating. It doesn't mean that they've found any evidence that the complaint is true. They'll then go and look at that and then decide if it actually does violate their codes or not. So when I kept seeing, like, it's such a big deal, the Advertising Standards Authority is investigating them. No, that just means someone's complained. It doesn't mean anything. If they uphold a complaint, yes, okay, that means something. Otherwise, no. Okay, that's out of my system.
Yeah. The reason that theoretically this investigation would be happening is because any complaint that would have been filed would be made using the Steam page.
Would it?
Yeah, because the Steam page for No Man's Sky.
Oh, you mean about the Steam page, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
because a lot of images that are used on there, which are theoretically being used to advertise the game, are basically impossible or simply don't exist in the game, like the warship battles and just like a lot of shit that is in these screenshots is not possible to achieve in the game. So the idea behind that Advertising Standards Authority complaint and investigation would be they'd be investigating this Steam page for misleading advertisement.
And if they, I don't know if they've ruled on this or not, I'm just checking if I can find it now, but if they do, all they can do is say, okay, please stop. Like the ASA doesn't issue fines or any legal sanctions or anything like that. So yeah, I just had a bit of a bee in my bonnet over people making a big deal out of it when the fact that there has been a complaint I don't see as a big deal. We knew people were miffed about it. Mm-hmm. The ASA hadn't put out an actual their own thoughts on it or anything. Anyway, yeah, sorry. You just reminded me and I wanted to mention it.
It's such a, the way that the broad gaming community has reacted to No Man's Sky is just a huge bummer. It's bummed me out a lot. And I want to move swiftly on and talk about something else. So I'm going to move on to Far Cry 4, which is tonally kind of a bummer. If you've never played Far Cry 4 takes place in the fictional country of Kyrat, or Kirat. Depends on kind of who's pronouncing it in the game. It's generally Kirat.
Actually, that's the interesting thing about that game. I really like how they have different characters pronouncing the main character's name differently, sort of to make a point about that, right?
Yeah, I found that a nice touch, actually. Because there's people who are pronouncing it in kind of the proper Kirati sense, right? And then there's people who are pronouncing it like an Americanized version of it,
Yeah.
AJ
And
or Ajay.
the thing that got me kind of quickly is my um, assumption, perhaps, I don't remember if there was anything to reinforce this, was that the main character, kind of not really being from there, like he hadn't grown up there, would probably have been pronouncing it AJ, and then everyone else pronouncing it RJ would have been a reminder of like, hey, you don't really know much about where you're from, so maybe try to learn. I thought that was kind of a nice touch, just as a way to give a first impression of a game.
I'm not sure that would have been the case, only because he'd been living with his mother, who came from Kirat. So I can imagine that it would be, at the very least, she would pronounce his name correctly, but he would have gotten used to the bastardization of his name, and we've gotten into a whole thing about the pronunciation of Ajay Ghale's name, so we've gotten off track. I want to talk about something I've been doing in Far Cry 4, which is, this is a game about kind of a bloody civil war. And that means that there's like kind of some interesting stuff going on. There's like battles that have happened, attacks on villages, people just trying to like live their lives and worship their gods. And like all of this is happening within the world of Kirat. And something I've been able to do with a mechanic that exists in the game. This mechanic is just a camera. It offers basically one control other than position it, and that is to zoom in and out. So it's a very limited tool set compared to kind of like a photo mode like you might find in like Doom or Uncharted or like a lot of third-person action games. It's a very limited tool set for me to work with. But it still lets me document the events of this internal civil war in really, really fascinating ways. And that's been kind of how I've been playing Far Cry 4. By like going through and, doing the normal Far Cry stuff, invading outposts and climbing
Riding
towers and revealing the map and riding elephants and driving around and wingsuiting and all this crazy stuff. And then in kind of quieter moments, just taking out the camera and taking a picture of something.
So I know that the game has a camera, but I don't think you could take photos with it. You use it for like marking enemies so you can see them through walls and stuff. But can you take photos with it, or how are you doing that?
In certain story missions, you can quote unquote take a photo with it, but other than that, you can't like push a button and have it save a photo. What you can do instead is there's a button to just toggle the interface off, so I can get my shot ready. I can toggle the interface off, and then there's nothing on the screen at all. I can press F12, capture the screenshot, and then go back to normal gameplay. Or take more shots if I want to.
Okay, so it's similar to a game's photo mode, except it doesn't give you free reign of the camera in terms of your viewpoint. You're still walking around. Is that right?
Yeah, you're still restrained by like your physical position. So as long as you can walk to, or like you can walk to something or crouch or whatever to position it, and that's it. You have to actually go to these locations. You can't just fly around and like go 100 meters up and take a beautiful landscape shot. You have to actually figure out like, oh, okay, this looks really beautiful. How am I going to get this? Is it the right time of day? How can I capture this properly? And because of how limited it is, it encourages me to shoot a certain way, and it's produced some really great results.
Nice. Have you got those on Steam or something?
I haven't got them uploaded anywhere. No, I'm working on a pitch to Waypoint, a gaming site that was just started by Vice. It's headed up by Austin Walker, Danielle Riendo, who formerly worked at Polygon. Austin Walker formerly was Giant Bomb. Patrick Klepek, formerly Kotaku. It's kind of a who's who of some of the best writers in video games right now. But I've made a pitch to Waypoint to see if we can get that article up. If not, not a big deal. I'm probably just going to publish it on Medium at some point. And I have some photos somewhere on my Tumblr. They're going to be hard to find. Sorry.
Not of birds this time. Or have you been photographing the eagle attacks?
No eagle attacks. There was a rhino attack incident that I managed to capture.
I suppose they're not that uncommon in Cadout.
Not really, no. The eagle attacks are fucking everywhere, though. Oh my god, they're so annoying.
Yep.
That hasn't changed.
No,
There's been a lot of stuff that's been...
It's the most notable thing of Far Cry 4, I think, is the frequency of eagle attacks.
There's been a lot of stuff in that game that has been patched. But,
just not
holy shit,
that?
Eagle attacks? Every time. 5 of them. At least.
Isn't it interesting how, like, a relatively small thing like the frequency of eagle attacks can have such a big impact on how a game feels?
Yeah. Here it just feels like it's Alfred Hitchcock's The Fucking Birds.
Yeah.
And they are out for blood. They're here, and there's nothing we can do about them.
I wonder if anyone's, replaced the dragons in Skyrim with Far Cry 4's eagles. Because you know when they, pick people up and then drop them from huge heights to kill them?
Yep, I do. I've seen them, do that to goats.
Oh, yes! I saw giants in a distance, and they were attacked by a pack of wolves. And, of course, the wolves were sent flying up into the sky.
I had an incident where I was being attacked by a giant, and I quick-saved.
Oh, no.
So every time I was loading in, this giant would smash Lydia into the fucking ground, and then chase after me, because Lydia was no longer pulling any sort of aggro. So that was fun. I did actually kill that giant, though. I got good enough.
The only giant I've ever killed in Skyrim is the giant that those NPCs kill when you first see them coming around the road.
I got that one too, but that hardly counts.
No, I know. It's the only way you can get credit for it is if you blindly fire an arrow in that direction and are lucky enough to hit the giant, I find. Because they kill it pretty quick. I've had that before. I've quick saved, been I'll rush over and help. Oh, they killed it. I'll just try shooting an arrow. Oh, I missed. I'll try again. And managed to hit the giant just before it died. And they're like, good job. I'm like, thanks. Okay, cool. Yep, I did that.
You should join the companions.
Yeah. Whereas, because I think if you don't help, but you were nearby, I think they come over and berate you for not helping or something. Or if you go over afterwards and they're like, why didn't you help? I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I think that's why I went back. It's been a while. I didn't do that this time. I've been avoiding people with this current playthrough.
Oh, Skyrim. Anyway, that's also been me talking about Far Cry 4 and I'm doing some photojournalism stuff and trying to capture the people and places and animals that make up Kirat and trying to frame them in a explicitly photojournalistic lens. It's been really cool.
Reminds me a bit about how near the start the big bad takes a selfie with you.
I still love that introduction scene. There's just so much going on in that scene that gives a lot of character and charm to the game.
Definitely gives you a feel for what's going on.
Oh, definitely. I love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I love it a lot. Anyway, do you want to move on?
What's next in your mind?
What's next on yours? Have you got something?
Not really. Skyrim's the only thing I've picked up this week. I mean, I'm still planning on touching the DLC content. I haven't yet. Mm-hmm. I think I'm level 6 or something.
Have you done any of the Far Cry 4 DLC? Or sorry, Far Cry 4. Fallout 4 DLC.
Have I? Yes, I've done some of the automaton stuff.
But none of like Far Harbor or New
No,
World?
I haven't done any of the extra area stuff.
Okay.
I remember that the swamp one for Fallout 3 was pretty well done. And like you said, Bethesda is normally pretty good with DLC stuff. Like Shivering Isles for Oblivion was a huge step up from the base game. I still remember that being really cool and spending a lot of time in there. But no, I mean, I might at some point. I've been pulled back to Skyrim because of the special edition, even though, like I said, I don't notice much difference. If I were playing them side by side, I'd probably notice more.
Yeah.
But
Have we
mainly because
talked
I wanted the
about
DLC.
have we talked about why horse armor exists on the show? I
don't know
think
if
we
we've
have.
mentioned it. I don't know. I don't know if we have.
Definitely a horse armor's existence is kind of weird. I
mean,
it.
like, the fact that it was a paid piece of DLC is the weird bit, right?
I think it was so that, like, to my recollection, it was because Bethesda wanted to test the DLC model on consoles and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as well. Because it was kind of early in the days of paid DLC that wasn't a big expansion, right?
Yeah, it really was. So
Like
it was a way
2007?
for Bethesda to like test the waters. And then they actually released like Knights of the Nine and the Shivering Isles.
Oh, I forgot about Knights of the Nine. Never finished that.
I only
never
know
finished
about it
Shivering
because
Isles either.
I bought the Game of the Year edition of Oblivion
Right.
like 3 years ago in a Steam sale. I have never touched it.
Yeah, I think I own Oblivion digitally, despite never having played it digitally. Like, I played heaps of it before I even had Steam. Since then, I don't think I have.
So this has been the Bethesda Hour. Tune in next time when I get Dishonored 2.
So you're planning on getting that before Watch Dogs 2?
No, I am planning on getting Watch Dogs 2 first. Dishonored 2 looks amazing.
Yeah.
But in the case of Dishonored and in the case of Deus Ex, I want to go through the previous game before I get the sequel. So with Deus Ex, I'm going to want to go through Human Revolution, and with Dishonored, I'm going to want to go through Dishonored 1 again.
I don't blame you for not wanting to go through Watch Dogs 1.
No, I'm definitely not going through Watch Dogs 1.
Yeah.
I did that once, and I did the DLC once.
Wow, I did not. Like, I played it, but I stopped because I couldn't stand the protagonist. Like, I found that about as bad as Far Cry 3, except also I didn't enjoy the gameplay as much.
The protagonist in the DLC was more bearable, at least.
Oh, was there a different protagonist in the DLC?
Yeah, the protagonist was, like, he was more interesting. He's like a terrible white dude with dreads, though, but he was more interesting than Aiden Pierce. He's the, he was the dude that you pick up in the bar and fist fight.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's the sequence in Watch Dogs where you pick this dude up, you fist fight him in a bar, and lose because Aiden Pierce is a piece of shit who no one loves.
To be fair, I don't think how many people love you is going to be the thing that wins fistfights.
I know. I'm just saying he's a giant piece of shit. And nobody
I'm not his
likes
biggest
him.
fan either.
Nobody likes him. I mean, there are people who like him, and you know, we don't talk about those people because they're wrong. Objectively, this is not something I take. This is not something I take lightly. They're objectively wrong, factually wrong.
You know was it Jason Brody, the Far Cry 3 protagonist as well?
Oh.
Some protagonists are just awful.
Oh, Jason Brody.
It was so hard to be him.
Jason Brody's the whitest name ever.
Also, he was just like a complete asshole.
He was.
He was horrible. From the start, he was a little shit. And then he just got progressively worse.
Basically, because he literally became power mad.
He became a murder junkie.
And a murder junkie. And probably a drug junkie at some point or another.
Were there drugs in the game? I don't remember.
There were.
Okay.
They were like hanging out near the boat, and you could take them and go on trips.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember.
An iconic Ubisoft a sequence.
That I don't remember. Yeah.
They seem to have a lot of that in their games. Anyway, video games are wild. That's it. Video games are wild. Speaking of like particularly wild video games, I got a giveaway this week.
Oh, yeah?
I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
You're done? Okay. I have a giveaway this week, which is going to be fun. This week I have a copy of Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen to give away.
Oh, nice.
Because I subscribe to the Humble Monthly Bundle. And every month they give me 8 or so games. It's real nice. But sometimes they're games that I already have. And usually I just give them away on Twitter. But on this case, I thought, I may as well give this away on the show. Dragon's Dogma is a pretty cool, I guess, dark fantasy. Yeah, like a dark fantasy story.
I don't know if I'd call it dark fantasy. I think I just call it fantasy. It's not high fantasy with elves and stuff, but...
Yeah, it's I don't know. I could consider it dark fantasy, I think.
Okay.
It kind of combines the best of Dark Souls, if you've played that, and Monster Hunter. I think that's kind of how I would evaluate that.
I'd say more Shadow of the Colossus than Monster Hunter.
I still need to play that also.
You absolutely do. It's kind of like Dragon's Dogma, in a way.
Okay.
It's got the climbing over giant monsters stuff, which Dragon's Dogma has as well.
Anyway, if you want this good video game, you can get it from me for free. Just email pausecastshow@gmail.com, and let's see. Give me your favorite dragon. That's it.
There are types of dragons?
Well, there's been so many iterations of dragons, like how to train your dragon.
Okay, so like where your favorite dragon's from, kind of thing.
Yeah, like where's your favorite dragon from? And that's it. That's it. Just like send me your favorite dragon. Send me where they're from. I want to look at some dragons.
You got me thinking now.
Do I? About like dragons?
Yeah.
Just in general?
I don't know what one I'd say my favorite is, but the Bahamut summon in Final Fantasy X is very cool.
Okay. Interesting choice.
I've also just played through it recently. So like I won't that's part of it. I'm not gonna hide that. I don't know if it's my favorite of all time, but it's cool.
The dragons in Dragon Age Inquisition were pretty cool. I like those dragons.
We play more of that game.
I don't know if you should.
I'd probably just remember why I stopped.
Hey, do you remember? Okay, no.
No.
Dragon Age Inquisition is
It's a
very political, very bad video game. The politics in that game I just hate them.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it. Yeah. Send me dragons, pausecastshow@gmail.com. I'll pick my favorite kind of at the end of the week. We'll see who gets that copy. I'll just contact you by email to send you that copy. All right.
So what are you looking forward to play this week?
I might look into some more Far Cry 4, definitely. I might look into some Valkyria Chronicles again.
Oh, yeah?
Because I have the overwhelming desire to kick some fascists into the dirt.
That's Anime World War II, right?
Yeah, it's Anime World War II.
Yeah.
But it's about kicking fascists into the dirt. And that's very much kind of what I would enjoy right about now. Also looking forward to maybe doing some of that in Mafia 3.
Wolfenstein will be good for that too, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, Wolfenstein. If you haven't played Wolfenstein The New Order, it's extremely recommended.
I haven't played it, I just know it's about shooting Nazis.
Well, all of the Wolfenstein games have been.
That's why I know.
The New Order is actually one of my favorite shooter stories ever. So, highly recommended. Okay, wait, before I say that though, huge trigger warnings for gore in that particular video game. Holy shit. There is some shit in there that turns my stomach, and I am normally pretty good with high-level video game violence.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's extremely nasty, and yeah. So just be aware of that. Other than that, basically unconditionally recommended. It's very good. How about you, Mark? What are you looking forward to playing this week?
I'm probably going to play more Skyrim. I don't want to drop it before I get to the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one I'll touch first. It probably depends on if my character turns into a vampire before I get to Solstheim. I don't know. Because I've currently got the vampire disease and have had for a couple of in-game days. I might touch more of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, depending on how I feel in the evenings. But aside from that, no plans for any particular game. I'm not picking any up just at the moment. I might next month, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably be looking at getting one of the Pokemon games at some point. But
yeah, I was going to say, are you going to play Pokemon Sun and Moon?
Yeah, I'm planning on getting Moon and my flatmate getting Sun, but we'll just have to decide when to do that because we'll get them at the same time, so we can play it together.
Who's your starter?
Oh, Litten for sure. I'm just not going to evolve it the full way.
Okay, that's fair enough. I would if I were to pick up Sun Moon right now, I'd be going with Poplio.
Its final evolution is so cool.
All of the in-game stuff I've seen of Poplio so far. Now that people are sharing photos of what they're doing in this video game, everything I see of Poplio just makes me love it more. Nice. And you know what? This is high praise considering there's a motherfucking bird orb.
Yeah.
And that's extremely my jam. If you want to find me on the internet, you can find me at Cockatiel Cutie basically anywhere. Mark, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Twitter at HonestUniverse, and I blog a bit as well, although not about video games, at honestuniverse.com. Where
can people find the show?
So we're on Twitter as well at PauseCast Show, and as Jess mentioned earlier, you can email us at pausecastshow@gmail.com.
If you have any questions, please send them to us. We would really love to answer some of your questions about design and just kind of games in general on the air. So if you have any questions, definitely send those in.
Yeah, definitely.
I cut you off. Please continue.
I was going to say, yeah, so that email address, that's where you want to send your favorite dragon if you want that copy of...
Yeah, send me some dragons, yo. That's all you got to do. Get a free video game.
It's a good fun video game.
It's a good fun video game. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/PauseCast show. Find us on iTunes, bit.ly/pausecast-iTunes. Find us on Pocket Casts, pca.st/pausecast. And that's going to do it. If you're listening on iTunes, please consider leaving us a rating or review. It helps us kind of get up in the iTunes charts. Please also consider sharing the show with a friend if you are enjoying it. Thank you to Anamanaguchi for our theme song. It is John Hughes off of the album Endless Fantasy. Anamanaguchi makes really, really cool electronic rock kind of chiptune-y stuff. It's a little bit reminiscent of Super Nintendo kind of stuff, but way more energy. Highly recommend their Endless Fantasy album. And is that it?
Ooh. I think that's it. You're right.
Yeah, I just knocked my microphone. So that'll be it for this week. Thank you to all our listeners, and thank you for continuing to support the show so far. We will see you next week.
Thanks for being with us. Bye.